Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
I'm Cindy.
I'm Alison.
And we have a combined 55 years of experience working with children, families, and experts in early education.
We are not random influencers.
No, we are not. Whether you are new or have been our podcast peeps since 2018, we are thrilled you found us. Welcome back, preschool peeps.
Hi, peeps.
Welcome. Before we get started with today's topic, we're going to shout out as we do here at How Preschool Teachers Do It.
We are shouting out the fine people of New South Wales and Australia today.
I feel like New South Wales is something that I know or should know. What do I know?
I feel
from
like
New
I
South
should
Wales?
know that, but I don't know exactly where it is.
That's true, but I know an Australian. I'm about to ask.
You should ask because I'm curious. We are also
Yeah.
shouting the next state out for the very first time.
Crazy.
Montana.
How have we never shouted out
I don't
Montana
know.
before? But we're really glad you're listening.
Yes.
If no one in Montana was listening before, welcome aboard.
Yes.
And even if you were, we're glad to have you. We're always excited to know where people are listening to us, right? Yes. And we hope that you take the information from this podcast.
I feel like you combine podcast and class.
I might have.
Which makes sense because that's usually what you're doing on Zoom.
I'm usually teaching a class.
Yeah.
So we hope that you take the information from these podcast episodes, which we know some of you binge. We know it because you tell us.
Yes.
And that you take it back to your time with children and in some way respond to it. How'd you like that for a segue?
That is great. You're so good at that stuff. I'm not.
I feel really good about that one.
Yeah.
So we want you to respond to the things you learn. We were, I don't even remember how we came across this topic, but people were talking about people who are non-responders, which are basically people who encountered something new, experienced something new, or somehow, I guess, could add to the quality of their life or the life of others, but they don't. So they have this new information, this new way that could potentially work.
Could, if they just tried.
But they don't.
Yeah.
But they don't.
They don't.
And so therefore they are classified as non-responders. We have in our society, folks, responders, people who take new information and just are willing to try it.
Right.
People who seek or are forced to do professional development because you have to get your hours in and don't even try to figure out, well, how can I take this and use it?
True.
They are also non-responders.
Yes.
There are also people who spend time with young children. The children are communicating some sort of want or need, and they get ignored. Non-responders.
True.
So we wanted to bring this word. It's a word, right? Not
It's
a
a
phrase.
word.
Okay.
It's
not
a
a
word.
phrase, really.
Yeah.
It's a word. We wanted to bring the word non-responder to you. Because ever since I heard it, whenever I hear things from people, like very often I facilitate professional development for organizations and entities, right? Yeah. So they have someone who engages with me to do that. And then it's usually like their job to go and follow up and see what happened with that information, right? Yes. Like, for example, quality rating and improvement specialists around the nation. Right. Their job is to then go, they'll say even like, we'll pay for your professional development. And their job is to go and see how it was implemented. And then they come back and say, they loved it. They think the topic was great and they loved you. And then I walk into the program and they haven't done anything. That is an entire staff full of non-responders.
Non-responders.
But I also have people who say to me, like, I implemented what you said and it worked, but the teacher next door is like so hesitant. And so what we want to do is take our responders and have them encourage the non-responders. Because honestly, when you know something and you know how to do it better and you know how to do it more appropriately and you know how to do it even if you're unsure, but someone has told you this is research-based and this can be of benefit, please don't be a non-responder.
But I feel like if you are a non-responder, especially with professional development kind of things, it's really hard to, like you're saying, we want the people who are responders to encourage the non-responders. And I'm saying that if you sitting in a professional development where it says, hey, this is an expert in the field, this is a research-based thing, your principal or your director wants you to do it, and you're still not doing it, there's no changing that person. I feel like they're stuck in their non-responding ways.
Some people need time.
Yes.
And proof. They need the teacher next door to do it.
But
they need to see it works.
Yeah.
Or they need a majority of the staff to do it so that they're the outliers.
I think it has to be a majority. Like,
so,
if they're seeing one teacher do it, and they're like, oh, yeah, cool, that works for your class because your class is different than mine, or you're younger than me and your personality's different. Okay, yeah, but what I'm doing is working in my class. And
they just have to not be the outlier.
Like, yes, they have to see a majority do it and it work for them to be like, oh, wait, maybe there's something to this. Maybe I should try this. Because I think if it's just one that they're seeing, they're going to be like, oh, see, no, but all the other classes are still, like me, non-responding, and we're doing it fine, and it's great. Like, I think it has to be like a whole culture change almost.
I just think being a non-responder is not an option. And I want you to think about that word responder. Imagine this for a second. We talk all the time about first responders.
I was just thinking this.
Were you?
Like, do you really want a person who's working on an ambulance to be a non-responder when you're having an emergency at your house?
And children who are highly emotional are having an emergency. Families who are worried about their children in some way are having an emergency.
Yes.
So we're like going down the same path with this, right?
Yeah.
So we have these first responders. Like, let's say you need attention from a first responder, like fire, police. What did I leave there?
Ambulance, fire, police.
I left somebody out.
Medical.
Something. No, that's ambulance.
It's ambulance, fire, police. That's it, isn't it?
I don't know. But we digress. You disappeared off the screen.
Oh, because I couldn't help myself.
All right, so
we had like what they call a brain fart, I think.
We did. I'm looking up. Hold on, everybody. We're digressing, but I can't even. You know, there are people who are fans of this podcast who tell us that they love when we do these very human things that we're doing right now. So here you go.
Are real people with real lives
and
real personalities. She's looking it up on the iPhone right now.
First responders include. I'm not the only one who's looked it up.
Fire, police.
Fire. Ready? Firefighters, law enforcement, paramedics, and emergency medical technicians or EMTs.
Yeah, firefighters.
Paramedic and EMT are different.
Yes, but I forget.
And emergency dispatchers.
Oh, yeah, you're 911 dispatchers.
Okay, so let's imagine for a minute you need the attention of a first responder and you call dispatch. You call dispatch, and they're like, I'm a little...
How about we don't respond right now because I'm busy?
Or I'm a little afraid to contact the first responders again because I just contacted one, so
okay.
So we're not going to respond.
Yeah.
When we're working with children or when we're raising children, you know who we are in their lives? First responders.
That's true.
So we need to always be responsive, and one of the ways that we're responsive is, even though they said to you, you are required to attend this professional development session, you need the hours, you need the topic, or the program needs you to do it. So even though you're sitting there, like we all have, frankly, thinking, I'm never getting these 2 hours of my life back, you need to figure out how you can take... I just made myself laugh.
But it's true.
You need to figure out... I've thought it.
Yeah, we all have. That's
why
I laughed.
You need to figure out how I can find something in this that I can respond to.
Because there's always something. Like, and I'm not saying you got to take the entire 2 hours and use the entire 2 hours. Okay. But there's always something in there.
Yes.
Maybe it's a little tidbit. Maybe it's a little like something just that you're already doing, but it's just a different spin on it or a different way to do it. I mean, there's always something you can get out of it if you're looking to get something out of it.
Correct.
But I think a lot of people are not looking to get something out of it. I think they're sitting there, they're waiting to be like, okay, give me my certificate, let me get out of here. Yeah. I'm worried about because
But the problem with that is
I got other stuff I got to do. Why am I here? This is wasting my time. That's what I think. But
the problem with that is that if they have hired a decent professional development provider, which is an if, okay, I'll give you that. It's one
of the problems. Yeah.
But if they have hired a decent one, then there is something for you to do. There is an action plan for after.
Yes.
when we are participating in professional development, one of the things that I always do, even when I'm thinking, oh, I just have to do this to qualify for this thing, it's 2 hours of my life I'm never getting back.
Yes.
Even then, I make sure I have note-taking materials
Yes.
because they're bound to say
something.
something that stands out to me,
There's
and I can
something.
bring that back. Folks, if you bring one thing back, you are not a non-responder,
Non-responder. Yeah.
right? One thing is all you need.
Yes.
You know, if you have a family education program that you're going to, and you're going in there thinking, they're going to teach me things to do with my children that I've never done before and I don't want to do because it's not part of how I was raised, and I'm not doing what they say. I don't care what they say. I've heard very negative things about this. You're going to be a non-responder, because if they've gotten someone who is halfway decent at what they do, there is a nugget,
There's
folks.
a nugget there.
There's always a nugget that you can take.
Right.
And go on, and then I'll go.
Well, I was also thinking there's people that purposely sign up for these things, right? They pay their own money, or
Yes.
they seek out that topic.
Correct.
And then they still don't take anything out of it. It's like, then why did you bother paying for it?
It's very true.
But why? Like,
Because who knows why? I mean, I have facilitated sessions for families that were court ordered.
okay, that's, yes.
Sometimes the court orders parenting classes.
I'm talking about the people, not the people who are court ordered, not the people who are like, oh, I have to sit through this because my principal says I have to. I'm talking about the ones that like seek out the classes.
You have to be willing to respond. And response doesn't have to, I know change is hard. Response doesn't have to be huge. It can be a little step you're going to take and go and do so that you're not a non-responder. And it's kind of like this too, when children are just struggling in some way, or families, their adults are struggling in some way. If we choose to ignore that, we are non-responders. You have to do something.
You have to do something. Like, I try to like compare it to like medical.
That's a really good
Okay.
comparison, because how
Because-
frustrating is it when a doctor looks at you and says, you're just nervous.
This has happened in my real life. So yeah, like they'll dismiss you, right? But if you have like I've had some serious medical stuff happen in my life within the last year, right? So like if I had a doctor who was like, "Well, we're not going to do that even though there's like 2025 technology and all these new things. Let's do it like we did it in 1980."
Right.
Would you trust that doctor?
No.
No,
No.
I'd be walking out of there so fast and be like, sign me up to somebody who knows what 2025 medical technology is about. Like all the new techniques, all the new...
You're 100%
You know what
right.
I mean?
Yeah.
So like, why are people allowing this to happen in the education world where you're walking to a classroom and it's still like it's 1980?
Oh, I've walked into
I
settings
know you have.
where I think I didn't realize I went through a time portal.
Yes. Why is that acceptable and still happening today? If you walked into a doctor's office, there is absolutely no way that you would allow that in your life.
That is still happening
all.
today,
Yeah.
because some human beings are
Yes.
so intrinsically afraid of change. And they're afraid that if they do change, then what they're saying to the world is, I was wrong before. You're not saying
You're
I
not
was wrong
saying
before. You're
that.
just saying I didn't know. I didn't know.
I didn't
Now I
know.
know. When
Yeah.
you know, you have to do.
Right.
You must. So go back and think about non-responding and the people who may have been non-responsive to you,
Yes.
how much you want people to respond to you, and how much we need to be able to be willing to respond for the betterment of the children and families who we raise, serve, whatever it is we're doing with them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I hope you'll think about that. And right now we're going to respond to some weather that we're having while we record by stopping the recording to ensure that this gets saved,
Yes, that's true.
because we don't know what's going to
We have
happen.
no idea.
All right. All right, preschool peeps. We will catch you next time on the podcast.
Bye, peeps.